And I'm so happy to be here at Eastern State Prison, one of the most wonderful organizations in the city, and I'm such a huge fan. So thank you for having us, inviting us into your home. So, and I'm extra thrilled tonight. And first I want to recognize our district attorney, Larry Krasner is here. I know he's going to speak, but I just wanted to recognize him. I don't have my... So I'm extra thrilled tonight to be here to celebrate the unveiling of the newest iteration of Mark Loughney's Pyrrhic Defeat, a visual study of mass incarceration. Can we have a round of applause, please? This brilliant collection includes 771 portraits of incarcerated individuals and 800 portraits of people who support changes to the criminal legal system. That's worth a round of applause. The project was inspired by and titled after the Pyrrhic Defeat theory posited by Jeffrey Reiman and Paul Leighton in their book, The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison. Pyrrhic Defeat is the concept that those with power to make changes to the criminal legal system benefit from the way it currently works. And I want to say something about Mark. So I had the good fortune to be connected with Mark through Jesse Crimes, really wonderful artist. And Jesse introduced me to Mark's mom. And it was, to hear from Mark from your mom was so moving, and then to see examples of your work. See, because like we believe at Mural Arts, and I like, this is not spin, this is for real, that there is talent everywhere, and what we don't have, and I know this is obvious and I'm stating it anyway, there are just not opportunities. There are not opportunities. If there are opportunities, they are like random bits of opportunity. It's not cohesive, it's not equitable, it's not fair, it's not just. So when I saw this work, I was like, well, like Mark just has to work with us. And so we have this program called Reimagining Reentry. And it is a fund that was created some years back thanks to the Art for Justice Foundation to support people coming home from prison who have extraordinary talent, like Mark Loughney. And it is a chance to meet others who are involved in the arts. It's a chance to do your own work. It's a chance to just think and be in a safe space like Mural Arts that really loves all of our participants. And Mark, I really feel like self-conscious claiming any credit because this is Mark, and it's Mark's vision and genius at work. And when you see it, you will be absolutely moved. And it just reinforces everything that we believe about access to art. We have a restorative justice program. You know, Mural Arts is sort of deceptively complex. Everyone drives around and sees murals everywhere. There are over 4,000 of them, and that's fantastic. Philly has a huge collection of outdoor art, and hundreds of artists are working every year. But in addition to that, we have all these programmatic areas in art education and behavioral health and community development and in restorative justice. And Damon McWhite is here, who's our interim director. Damon, thank you. And Ruby is here, who heads our rec crew. And the rec crew's here, and thank you, rec crew, yay. You see, I start jumping up and down because I get so excited. I'm never passive. Anyway, we started the restorative justice program a long time ago because we really, we've just felt like, well, we need to be doing more. I think it's important for organizations to always push themselves, to never be complacent, right? And we, at the time, there was a mayor, John Street, and he had a head of social services who thought that art should be part of how big departments do business. What a concept, right? And then she invited me to be part of these meetings with all these commissioners who were big thinkers, who had big budgets. And it was like, suddenly, like, we had a pathway in. And I was like, oh my God, this is our moment. And so I would follow people. I'm very tenacious. I wear people out. And I was like, my job is to figure out how we infiltrate the system. Yay. And so we did. And so we started working at the county jail. And then an art therapist from Graterford called and said, you know, would you come give a talk at Graterford? And then, so we were like, yes. And so then that led to this class at Graterford that it's continued to this day. It started in 2003, and we were at Phoenix, and we have an art room because we're long-distance runners in the space, because when we first started working in Graterford, the men in the class said, "You're a tourist." I was like, what? And they said, people, especially white people, come in, they do it because they got a grant or they want a grant, and they want to put on their resume, and then they disappear. And I'm like, well, people who know me know I never disappear. I sort of I'm like around always. But we believed in it. And I was so inspired by the men in that class. And I want to say, it's not what we did for them, it's what the men in the class at Graterford did for mural arts. I mean, it's how we just see the world differently. And it became sort of this moral imperative to create more opportunities for people behind walls and then for people coming home. So what started out as just a seed of an idea grew into this class at Graterford that then morphed into a program now where we have the Guild program and the Rec Crew. And then we thought, well, we need to do more. So then we have this a fellowship program and residency at the district attorney's office, because we want people to understand, like, a district attorney, what does that mean? How does it connect with our lives? So any way possible, we can make an impact in this world that is so mysterious, the criminal legal system. We want to do, because we feel that art is so important, has a profound impact on people's lives, and we have to be relentless and tenacious to make sure that everyone, everywhere, yes, behind those walls, have access to art, because there's genius and talent and magic. So, and I want to say, just on that note, I also feel that art should be everywhere. I feel it's like oxygen. And if you drive around this city and you see the murals, and I've gone to 4 dedications over the last week, that every mural represents people who live in that neighborhood. This is not art that is parachuted from the sky, that lands and people go, what is it? No, it is resonant with the citizens of Philadelphia. So when you drive around and you see that work on walls, it is truly the autobiography of the city of Philadelphia, and that matters. It's putting a stake in the ground and saying that your life counts. Whether you're behind the walls of Graterford, you're living in the Northeast, Southeast, wherever you are, your life matters, and it is reflected on large-scale works of art that have transformed the city of Philadelphia, thanks to the brilliance of artists and the brilliant tenacity of community members everywhere. Yay! Oh, I got so excited, I also wanted to say this about Mark, that he's also shown at MoMA PS1, the Zimmerli Museum of Art, Brown University, Sotheby's Institute of Art, the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. And finally, because I feel like I'm so grateful. Like, I'm up here speaking, but I work with amazing people, and I just want to thank Mark for all you've done for us. You have really, your talent lifts my heart and soul. For Ellie, I want to thank Ellie Clark from Mural Arts for working with countless lawyers and all the things she has to do to figure out projects. To Lauren Zalet for shepherding the entire installation. For Nathaniel Lee for designing the wall on which the mural is sited. Nathaniel is an artist on staff. Annalise King for her exquisite construction of the wall. Lance, I'm going to mispronounce this, Kinsker, for his support and expertise in constructing the wall. Terrence Bostic, Terrell Harris, and Stephen Price for their precise installation. And for Brian Campbell, who managed both the construction of the wall and the installation of the mural. I also want to thank our funders, Art for Justice, and the City of Philadelphia. And everyone, we looked for a wall for this. We looked relentlessly. We called 1 million people, and people were like, well, and we're like, ugh. So I was like, I'm going to build a wall. But I didn't have to, because Eastern State Prison said yes. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Kerry Sautner, the president and CEO of this esteemed institution. Kerry!
And usually I'm the most hyper one in the room, so this is fantastic. Welcome, everybody. I get the honor to welcome you all here. We are so happy to have you all here at Eastern State. This is a powerful tool that you're going to see tonight. This tool that we are honored to host. We are so grateful that you couldn't find a wall anywhere else, let's be honest. We have lots of walls here, But we need these walls, we need our work, we need everything to do to tell the story of people who are justice impacted and to center those voices around those people so we can understand and come together to do better. That's what justice is. Justice is looking at the identities of each one of us, those special, unique identities, centering human dignity and saying, how can we do this better? How can we be more perfect? How can we set up a system that's fair, just, and moving us forward, not pulling us back? So we are not just lucky to have this great work of Mark's here, we are honored. We're honored because we know it will spark new ideas in people that see it. We hope it sparks new ideas. We hope people can engage in dialogues because that's what art does so well. And to really move art and the story and conversation around the justice system together is a unique combination like no other. So we know that it will engage in conversation here, but we're also asking all of you to help us with not just having that conversation and dialogue here, but taking it back to your classrooms, to your community, to your friends, and acting on it. It's not just about being more aware. It's not just about learning more about our past. It's also about doing something about it. And I think that's more important today than it's been for the last 20 years. It feels like a call to action and a movement to go forward. We talk about liberty, we talk about justice, and we talk about equality. But are we really questioning if we mean for all or just for some? And so this work is unbelievably powerful, and we are honored to have it. And it really helps speak to what we're doing next as an institution that centers the voices of justice impacted, that includes the conversation and opens our walls wider to the entire nation to engage in conversations about what is fairness and what is justice. So thank you so much for being here. And I get a chance to thank my team because they're amazing. So Lauren Zalet is right over there. I would like you to stand up for a minute because I am gonna do this for you. Lauren, LZ, the entire education team really did such an amazing job pulling this together. They did it with our excellent preservation team. Our preservation team, Lance is one of them, Liz is another. They do such amazing work to respect and honor the multi-layered history that is here, but to also bring people into the modern conversation. And then our ever amazing and always impressive marketing team. You make sure that the world knows what we're doing, and you do it in a way that teaches, inspires, and brings people in. So we thank you all so much and give them all a big round of applause. Last but not least, I would like to thank Mark Loughney. You have been amazing with this work. You have a collaborative spirit. You have a warmth and a kindness like no other, and we feel so honored that you're gonna help us not just understand how we do this art exhibit here at Eastern State, but how we make that a signature of who we are for generations to come, to reimagine the visitor experience and using the power of art to tell that story of justice system and to ask for change. And that's what art can do so well. So thank you for shepherding us into this new next generation. And now, because I've talked enough, we can go to our next speaker. And I am delighted to welcome Philadelphia's District Attorney, Larry Krasner, to the mic. Everybody give him a big round of applause. Thanks for being here.
Okay, I got 3 minutes. I'm actually going to honor that because I think it is way more important that we get out to see this art than that you listen to me because, frankly, I haven't done anything. Everybody else who is speaking has done a tremendous amount. And I also hate podiums. All right, I'm starting a timer. I heard Jane Golden talk about being tenacious. I heard her talk about how I wear you out. I think that's what I heard. About her always being around. Well, she is. And, A, I'm delighted to be here because I love Eastern State Penitentiary. I've been somewhere in its proximity for a long time. B, I absolutely love the Mural Arts program, which has made Philadelphia an international center for public art, and it continues in that tradition today. And C, even though I don't know Mark Loughney, it seems to me, from what little I know about the art that we're about to see, that what he's done here is he's done two very difficult things at the same time. One is to represent the individuality and the uniqueness of over 760 people and then take 760 of those images and make them into something of enormous scale. And that really is what we're talking about here. We are talking about the invisibility of an enormous number of unique individuals in a way that doesn't differentiate between everything good, bad, imperfect, and perfect that you might say about them. They are completely hidden, unlike murals. They're behind a wall with no mural on it, but now we have a mural. And yet the enormity is almost inexpressible. You do still live in the large country that has the largest level of incarceration in the world, even more incarcerated than Russia, even more incarcerated than China, even more incarcerated than Rwanda. And what we should all want, it seems to me, is that our criminal justice system goes in the direction of making us freer and safer all at the same time, something that I'm happy to say is actually happening in Philadelphia right now, despite the national news, which is appalling. We should all want that. I think what is happening here, and I'm just being selfish right now, I think what is happening here does make us freer, and I think it does make us safer. And if you know the history of the Mural Arts program, and if you know all the different work that has been done by Jane Golden and Mural Arts in terms of addressing people who are coming out of custody, addressing neighborhoods where there are high levels of crime, and that's really just the beginning of it. I think there's absolutely no question that children who grow up in neighborhoods that have beautiful murals that match the culture and match the people there are safer because of it. I think there's no question that people who don't necessarily have the means or resources to go into museums are freer. I think there's no question that when Mark Loughney was in custody, and I believe you were in custody when you started this, and he was starting this, the knowledge that he might be able to express this in a more public way made him freer in there, and now he is freer out here as a consequence. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm really looking forward to seeing this amazing work. I haven't done a damn thing, frankly, in relation to it, so I shouldn't take too much credit, and it is exactly 3 minutes.
Well done. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Lauren Zalet, the head of education, and Mark Loughney for a conversation about the mural.
So Mark, can you share some highlights from the restorative justice residency on Mural Arts and what the process of this piece from concept to creation was like? You can talk about the original work, or you can just talk about the mural.
Sure. So the Reimagining Reentry Fellowship has been extremely formative in the last year and a half of my life. How's this? A little better? Prior to my release, Jane was so helpful even then, with the whole parole process, and I feel like the fellowship started before it actually really officially started. You know, there's been support from Mural Arts for a long time, and when it became official, there was a lot of career development opportunities. I got to network with people that really expanded my audience and my abilities as an artist, and support with supplies and workshops, and it's just been really wonderful. And you know, the mural is just the icing on the cake. It's super awesome that that is part of the fellowship. And there's so much more to it than that, though, you know. So it's really been amazing to be their fellow for Reimagining Reentry.
That's awesome. And the mural has now appeared above your head here, so everybody can see it, and then we'll all get to see it in person. So will you talk to us about how you started this piece.
I didn't know that it was going to become a project when I started. The first portraits I started drawing them to sell them for coffee and commissary. I would trade them. And I just wanted to get better at drawing. So I would ask my friends to sit for me and just volunteer their time, and I would draw them. And I would keep them to be able to chart my progress. And one day I taped up a bunch of them that I had. I taped them on the cell wall, and I felt an energy coming from them, and I thought that there was an opportunity there to talk about some issues that I was just beginning to learn about, like mass incarceration and the mechanisms that drive that. Prior to reading the book The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison, I didn't really understand, although I had suspicions. I thought maybe something isn't really right, or I just had this feeling. And then when I started to learn about the reality of it, it was very validating in my suspicions, but it was more horrifying than I even realized.
Yeah, I felt that way when I learned it too. So what are the next steps for this series and this body of work?
So I'm drawing an additional 800 people in support of criminal justice reform. I'm at 232 toward my goal of 800. So I still have a ways to go, and I'm chipping away at it.
And can anybody here in this room sign up to be a part of that?
Not just anybody, everybody can if they're interested. So I welcome that, and thank you for even considering it.
Great. So Jane talked a little bit about like what Pyrrhic Defeat theory is. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you came to learn about it, and how did it inspire this work?
Sure. It was 2019, and I took an inside-outside exchange program class with Wilkes University. Our textbook was The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison. And in that book, there was a hypothesis, Pyrrhic Defeat theory, and I thought that's really weird. I thought it was Pyrrhic victory. As I read, I started to get it. And then when it came time to put a title to the project, I was like, I didn't really know what to call it. And I flipped open that book, and it was like, a real epiphany type of moment where like that particular paragraph really was like glowing at me, and it just fit perfectly.
Great. And what about it like connected into creating this work? Like how did you end up how did you end up getting all of these portraits together?
Well, it was pretty slow moving at first. In 2017, I only had 94 or 96 of the portraits. That's when I had my first show of the portraits. And that was a really pivotal moment. A friend, Beth Ann Zero from Dunmore, she displayed the very first iteration of the project at her yoga studio and coffee shop in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. And the response from that show is what drove me to continue adding to it. So it, kind of snowballed as more interest grew. I wanted to draw more people. And then as people started to see what I was doing with the project, it validated the project, so it was easier to get gentlemen to sit for the project. And then next thing I know, it's a project. So,
Which has been shown at MoMA, at Brown University, at the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. It's on the cover of a book called Marking Time as well. And we discovered through our collaboration, back in 2017, you actually wrote a letter to staff here at Eastern State, and you said that you wanted to see this work exhibited here. So why did you want to show it here, and how is having it here different from other places that it's been shown?
Well, it all started here. The whole situation that we're in America started here. And I thought it was a very appropriate place to have a discussion about these things. And this is a 360-degree, perfect, complete, full circle moment. I want to acknowledge Sean Kelly's involvement in that, the former vice president, and how instrumental he was in those talks at first. And also Dr. Nicole Fleetwood, whose book, Marking Time, Art in the Age of Mass Incarceration, was also a huge door opener for a lot of the opportunities that I've had. You know, I started to learn a lot about Eastern State Penitentiary when I started to learn about mass incarceration. And the history here is, it's so amazing. And the architecture is also so amazing. And, you know, even back then I knew that this was the perfect spot for this.
Yeah, it's I can't wait for everybody to see it. It just, when I walk into this room, I feel like it's always been there. Like it's is when people see this work, when people see this work tonight or see this work tomorrow, what do you hope they will walk away with when they see it? What do you want them to be thinking about?
So I hope that it's a visual representation of the scale of the problem that we're facing. And however, it's just a small fraction of a percentage of the amount of people that are in prison in America, even in Pennsylvania. And you'll notice when you first look at the wall, you can't really fully take it all in at once. You know, it's so overwhelmingly like in your periphery that you know, you could focus on an individual face. You could kind of pull back and see that there's a lot of faces, but you can't really get it all at once, you know. And it feels like that's sometimes the fight that we're involved in, is that we have to kind of chip away at it little by little by little. And I also hope that there's a level of individuals being recognized as an individual, and then the collective voice of the whole wall of 760 people. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that people come away with a feeling that there are people behind all those numbers that we're talking about, and people with stories, with lives.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk a lot about, at other times, like about the collective work that it will take to address mass incarceration. So like you always return to the collective and you always return to community, and that kind of connects into this question that I'm getting from Zoom, which is from James Huff.
Yeah.
And he says, can you talk about some of your community building experiences that occurred while creating this piece?
Yes, great question. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I don't know if it's going to play tonight, but eventually there will be a video that plays in the...
Some of the videos
dialogue
in there.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the gentlemen interviewed for the video is my good friend Ian Mowdy. And, you know, in that video he talks about how, you know, I wasn't a very approachable person in prison because I just, you know, like I was unkempt, had paint all over me, I had my headphones on, and I was just like constantly like focused on something else and going, you know. And I missed at first a lot of opportunities to talk to people. And then when I started drawing the portraits, it was like I was able to connect with people through art in a way that I was never able to do before. And I ended up having like some of the most meaningful conversations in my life because of that. So that was the most poignant part of that.
Thanks, Mark. So Angela on our team will help. If you have a question, she'll bring the mic to you, and we're happy to take questions from the audience. A few questions. Okay, how about we start up here, Angela? We got this. We got this.
Okay. Mark, you know, I love your work. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, from this body of work that you have right here, what do you want people to understand about the carceral system and what needs to change?
Well, all of it needs to change, the whole thing, from ground up. We need to reimagine the whole thing, the way that we deal with crime, and how safe do we want our communities to be. I think that's the most important part of it. If it's like safety that you want, the warehousing of people at such a an insane rate isn't the way to get there.
What about the people? Because for me, I feel like we have a lot of people that are incarcerated, and we have a lot of people that are coming home that were incarcerated and that were innocent. And more or less to the people that are inside, what do you want people to know about them?
That we see you right now today.
That's beautiful, Mark. Angela, there was another hand that went up in the back. So we're coming around.
Thank you very much. You've talked a lot about sort of the macro impact of what you're doing and how it connects people. I'm a little curious about your micro process. What are you doing when you're actually making your portraits? Do you talk to the individual? Are you talking about personal things? Are you talking about things on a macro level? And about how long do you spend on each portrait?
Thank you for that question. About half hour on the portraits. A little bit longer if you have glasses or accessories that I have to capture. So yeah, we talk. We talk before it, we talk after it, we talk a little bit during it when I'm done drawing your eyes and your mouth. So I get to hear and meet and befriend so many people over art that I wouldn't be able to make those connections otherwise.
And we'll take our last question up here, Angela. Oh, no, we'll do one question here, and then there's a question over there. I just saw you.
Hi, Mark. I'm Curtis Krasner, Senior. I'm the 22nd exoneree of the Larry Krasner's office. This is my boss here. I did 34 years. I served time for a murder that I didn't commit. So I am an exonerated, 22nd exoneree. First, let me say I appreciate everything that you're doing. I appreciate and thank you for taking time with men and sitting down and hearing their stories, because I'm one of the men that served 34 years. 30 years at Graterford, 2 years at Phoenix. And I did some of that time with Akil on the same block. I'll say maybe 9 or 10 years of that time that he came down. A lot of the artists that are a part of Mural Arts, I personally know how Mural Arts have supported them and gave them jobs coming home. I work for the district attorney's office. I'm on the community engagement unit. But my plight and my compassion and my love and my fight is that of yours. And our office is big on second chance. It's big on mass incarceration, of opportunities to give that was never present, a voice to be heard, of opportunity. This district attorney here is the first of its kind to stand up and say that I will stand for what is right in the face of all odds. And I say this not because he's my boss. I'm 63 years old. So I'm past the stage of lying and pepping people up. I'm not lying for nobody at my age. You get the real, raw deal with me. But this is the first of its kind to say that I care for humanity. I care for all colors of people. I don't care what your ethnic background is, what your race is, what your religion is. I stand for justice. I stand for the right thing. And for that, to have the opportunity to even work for a man, of this caliber to have turned evidence over when he could have turned his back, as many administrations have done, and said, I'm not going to give this evidence over, and being personal. If I can look at it, I look at it as that they were saving other people's jobs. Like I was just a write-off. Why should I give evidence that will destroy other people's jobs, kids' college tuitions and opportunities of money for them, second mortgages and loans and different things? It's many things that my mind can look at and wonder why would somebody just say, leave him there, when the evidence was right there that I was innocent all along. But Mark.
Come on, Mark.
And all that I do, and I work on the community engagement unit. I march with kids in the past, hands up, guns down. I sat in countless circles with many psychiatrists and doctors to talk with kids with violence, of murder, and knowing that their friends have died and passed on. I walked into many business corridors up and down throughout the city of Philadelphia, just doing a welfare check, just letting them know that the DA of this county cares about them. And I'm personally sent here to look you in your face, to ask you, how are you doing? What can we do possibly to change things? But I'm asking you, what could we do? What more could I do? Because I care. I take phone calls still from men in prison. And a lot of those men, I don't even have to name their names. I know them. They're already connected with Mural Arts. And I'm looking at all of these faces, and I'm seeing men of my color, more than any color. And each day when I talk to those, I take at least maybe 4 or 5 phone calls a day with over 19 men. The work you're doing is it's remarkable.
Thank you.
That you will put faces to a situation is remarkable. And I understand that there's more need to be done, but what can I do to help you, to assist you? What can the DA's office do more than just having a conversation? Because a lot of people is full of BS. Okay, I'm 63. Can I say that? Right? And they don't oftentimes, and I'm not going to take much time, they don't oftentimes mean as much as they say and put that compassion behind it. When they have authority, they have opportunity to change things. But when you got somebody that's constantly being attacked and is saying, I don't care what you do, what you say about my name, how I do things, I'm going to do as I felt led to do, and I'm going to die with that legacy that I did the best that I could do, as Larry Krasner do. What can we do to help more, Mark?
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Let's get to Mark's answer.
Thank
you.
Thank you for everything you're
Thank
doing
you so
already.
much. Thank you so much.
And thank you, DA Krasner, for all that you're doing. We're going to talk after this, for sure. I have your contact. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then I think we'll just take this one last question and we'll move on.
What advice would you give the young artists who are trying to kind of find their way and find their voice in their art?
Make sure you get at least 2 hours of sleep every week, even if you have to force yourself.
All right, everybody. So let's give it up for Mark.
Thank you. I know we're way
And I
over.
think that Mark just
We're
wants
way-
to
I
do
just wanna
some quick thank
some
yous.
real quick thank yous. I just want to thank everyone at Mural Arts, especially Jane Golden, who's been absolutely incredible in my whole process. Thank you, Jane. Real quickly, Damon. I want to thank Damon McWhite, Brian, my project manager, my past project managers, Juliet and Callie, Ellie, Medina, Nathaniel, Annalise, Terrell, Stephen, and Terrence, who helped me install the mural here. Thank you, guys. Everyone at Eastern State Penitentiary, Dr. Kerry Sautner, Lauren Zallet, who was integral to this process. Thank you so much for everything, Lauren. Danny Seifert, Ryan Serrano Hall, John Lee, all the tour guides and staff here at Eastern State Penitentiary. I'd like to thank D.A. Krasner for coming and speaking, and Curtis. Sean Kelly, the former VP here at ESP. And real quickly, some of my early supporters, especially my parents, who were my art handlers and voice while I was incarcerated. It was all because of them that I was able to get this work out. Yeah. Christina Armando, she's been my biggest supporter in all things. Dr. Nicole Fleetwood, who championed my work with her incredible exhibition, Marking Time, Art in the Age of Mass Incarceration. Jesse Krams for connecting me with Jane Golden. Beth Ann Zero, Jasmine Heist, Jack Norton, Dr. Michael Jenkins, and Matt Clementi, who were all part of the first early shows that I did with Pyrrhic Defeat. And a huge, huge thank you to Agnes and Catherine Gund for the Art for Justice Fund. It's only because of their support that I've been able to get on my feet since coming home, and the connections that I've made through that. And Jane is also part of that family. So I just wanted to acknowledge them, and a huge thank you. And thank you to everyone who came here tonight to be part of this. And I cannot forget, because this is what it's all about, as a huge thank you to all the gentlemen who spent their time sitting with me uncomfortably in a chaotic place, entrusted me with their image and their stories, and who didn't have to do that. So that's what tonight is all about. Let's go see them.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to head out this way.